Hello, hello. Hopefully you enjoyed the first two episodes, and I have something in mind to talk about. And today we're gonna do just a quick one about rage and anger in general, right? And we go with the same idea of rage and anger is bad. And the reason why I'm talking about it's not that I'm not prone to rage and anger. Actually, I'm that's that's an active problem I'm working on. I removed some of the rage and anger from my life, but it's periodically reappearing, and we can talk about that too. Why that's the reason. But I think just lately there was this rage. There's more and more like news about people who have a specific rage sessions. Especially, I think on TikTok is becoming a trend. Like people are recording themselves enraged, or like saying, "Oh, I need time to vent out," etc., etc. Around those subjects. And while in theory it sounds like, "Oh yeah, I just need to vent out." Yeah, like I need an outlet to actually vent out about this specific thing which happens in my life. And in theory, it sounds great because otherwise, you don't want to suppress your emotions, etc., etc. I don't think that's actually true. I think that's totally fine to suppress some emotions. That's fine to actually disable those emotions if possible. I do think that's possible, and I successfully done multiple of such things in my life. And But the idea, like, let's just go around anger. Why exactly having anger sessions or rage sessions is a detrimental thing? Because as anything in life, the more you do something, the better you become at it. So the idea of it that you're gonna vent out, and that's gonna be just beneficial. You're gonna release those emotions, and they're not gonna stack up inside you. That sounds great in practice. In theory, sorry. In practice, actually, what it does is reinforce your rage. It reinforces you being angry about stuff rather than trying to work it through, understand what triggered it, go through the cause of those emotions, and or at least eliminate the reaction to those emotions. People are just going with it, and I think that's part of the play of I am who I am, or that's just me. That's how I do things. That's how I've been taught. That's how my mom did it. That's totally normal. Like in my household, if plates weren't flying, we weren't married or something like this. Like that's kind of agenda. And so that's just pure toxicity. And maybe in the beginning it's not. Maybe you decided that I'm just gonna do this thing, just do this one thing, just gonna punch stuff and then it's gonna go away. That's not true. And I've recently caught myself doing this, especially when you put kid to bed and he doesn't want to go, and you just like spending time. You want to do something else. You have planned things. You plan to put him to sleep in 20 minutes. 30 minutes in, you're getting angry. 40 minutes in, he looks like he's sleeping. And next 5 minutes, he's not sleeping again, and you're just losing it, like back and forth. And you're like, "Oh, I need to punch something." In your head, you're like, you're punching a wall, and then you walk outside and you punch a wall as well. And so, while of course it creates a bad environment for everybody in the household, outside of that, what you do is reinforce that it's okay to punch the wall or punch the object after you feeling that kind of emotion. It's okay to do that kind of thing. So you normalize it, you make it as a habit, and the problem is that actually it becomes more often, and not just because you open the alley for this. You open sort of, oh, now I have this way of, like, I have a punch bag, right? Now I have the way to vent out. No, it's not just that. What the problem comes is it reinforces that kind of emotion. That emotion becomes more often because now you practice it. Now you become very good in raging. And so, and beside that, I'm pretty sure if you're doing the same kind of venting out, if, let's say you have a punching bag and you punched it, you're becoming too much used to it. And so what you do is actually you punch harder and harder, and it just spirals into expressing that emotion, and in the higher peak, and maybe you're getting tired and maybe you're worn out, etc. And now you cannot do whatever you plan to do, so it's even detrimental to the whole plan of venting out, so you can actually have time to work on your stuff or to continue with your life. And so with And so I think majority of stuff will go with, again, oh, that's who I am. I've only had an anger management problem or something along those lines. And that's where the meditation is the most important part, actually going through the triggers of those emotions, actually trying to disassemble it, everything which caused it, and basically remove it completely. Not trying to, oh, I don't want that to build up, I don't want that to become, I don't want to be stressed because it's going to be brewing inside me. Again, if you're brewing an emotion, then you're reliving that traumatic experience. Coming back to the previous subject, now you're marrying that idea. Now you're marrying the idea of being angry about something. Now you actually start associating yourself with that specific trigger, and now that's who you are. Now that's become your identity, story, etc. And so psychologically it has a huge detriment as well. So by going back into roots and trying to disassemble it and remove it and say, no, actually I'm fine for not being that kind of person, and looking through the lens of like what exactly is triggering me, where the moment is triggering me, and letting it go is important. So what I'm trying actively to do for myself, right, and what everybody would recommend is one of the simplest things is count to 10. Count to 10 allows you to relax, to actually focus on something else. That's just primitive, very short form of meditation, of focusing on something outside. If it doesn't work, then I'm trying to actually, because for myself, for example, I'm creating a constant change, or like the long running change. And long running change requires you working on your character as sculpture works in a sculpture, basically sculpting your character into different direction. So what I do, for example, let's say I go in this specific situation, go in to put the kid to sleep. I have a lot of things planned. I really need to do this. I need to do garbage. I need to do a little bit more work. I want to relax. There are people waiting for me. There's another thing which I'm due, which I have to do, etc. And so what I do inside is I'm trying to let all of that go. I'm trying to say nothing of this is going to happen. Nothing of what I've planned is going to happen. Completely nothing. The rest of my night is going to be me putting this kid to sleep. And if you put this kind of idea in your head, if you go with this kind of preparation, that okay, it's going to take me entire night, it's fine. That's how it's going to go. So if it goes 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 50 minutes, it doesn't matter, right? It's still less than an entire night. And so I'm way more happier by myself, and I cannot change that situation. You need to understand that a lot of anger comes from inability to actually create a meaningful change. You're in a lot of sense, people say they have no exit of the situation. They have to process it. They have to go through the specific uncomfortable part, and they have to go with it, and that's why they're angry. Because they locked into the specific decision, which is totally fine. But then the proper meditation is actually finding alternative, and that alternative could be something not that good, right? For example, right, I worked at the job when I was pretty much in the golden cage. I had RSUs coming for the next 5 years, huge AAA company paying big bucks of a salary on top of it, stocks which should be vested, and then if I'm investing through the all 5 years of that experience, I'm coming out as very rich man. And so I've been locked into this golden cage, and whenever something happened at work, you start thinking negatively about it. I wish I could quit. And so the whole idea of being, even that, I have an opportunity to quit, but actually not following that idea is still enough for you to feel free. But if you feel locked in, then you start feeling angry and anxious. And so what I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you know what? If it doesn't work out, maybe I'm not going to become, rich person, for example, or become richer person that I meant. I'll buy a small house with a farm, gonna raise ducks, gonna have a pool, gonna have a lake where I will swim with my ducks. It's gonna be amazing. And so that idea made me feel great. it wasn't like it's not a fulfillment. I wasn't aiming for stars. It never close, not even close to what I would want to do with my life. But it sounded great. Like on the paper, it sounded something I can enjoy doing, right? And it was very low on execution. Like, oh yeah, like I definitely was, even with whatever I have right now, even if I quit, I can make it happen, right? I can go to very poor state or very poor country and do and implement that kind of idea, and it's going to be cheap and dirty, and I'm going to probably have fun in the middle, right? And so that sounded great for me. And so by me creating this alternative, it relieves me from all of the stress and pain and anger I had around the job, and allowed me to work 2 more years at that job without being super angry about stuff. And so that's what I'm trying to say, that releasing the anger by trying to beat the wall or scream or whatever is actually a terrible way, because what it will do is going to reinforce that kind of behavior. But if you focus on triggers, you start diminishing this problem. You become more introspective, more enlightened about this problem. You decompose it, decompile it, whatever you want to say. You work it through meditation. You find an alternative which you can work with. You remove the triggers which are inside you, like a specific thoughts which you have, which triggered by this event, right? And if you work it out and say, that's not who I am, I don't care, I can easily dismiss it, and that's totally fine. Like, just let it go. If you work on it, that's going to be more beneficial in your life. And you can continue on the same path you were in, but now you don't have that anger build up. Well, again, it's easy to say. It's a constant thing you have to do. That's a constant, every day, every minute, every hour, whatever the frequency you need to, meditation on this specific event and trigger. And it's not an easy thing, but as long as that's a better alternative and more healthy alternative, I do think that people need to explore it, and don't fall for a trap for an easy win, for easy vent out, for easy benefit, because that just delayed payment. You're gonna which gonna come was a huge interest. You're gonna pay way more if it's gonna become your habit, and it's gonna happen more frequently, even if you're not sort of in fault for that. Hopefully you found it interesting. There are more things like this. It's not just about anger. But yeah, I think this is great. And let me know if you have any follow-up questions about it. I'll love to help. Have a good one. It is what it is, guys.